And away we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Mitchell.
I'm Brett.
And this is Real World Recovery, your one-stop shop for zany recovery madness.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I've heard there's some madness out there.
Is there?
Yeah. Maybe even March madness.
Oh, it is. It is March, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow the month has passed me by. It probably has something to do
I was busy bewaring the Ides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I successfully avoided being stabbed.
I may have had stabbing pain on the Ides.
Et tu, Brutus?
Et tu, pancreatitis?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Hey, at least you didn't have to get like cut open and everything. So
yeah,
that's
I
good.
mean, amazingly enough, they were preparing me to like have surgery on my gallbladder, and they were preparing me for all sorts of terrifying outcomes.
Yeah.
And just like all the other things in my life, I somehow dodged the trend and just
could have been worse.
Just lived through it.
Could have been worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to keep that super important pancreas.
Well, it would have been the gallbladder that came out, but yeah. They were having a really hard time explaining to me exactly what it does. And they're like it like stores the bile from
it's
your liver.
It's what gives you all of that gall.
Okay. I mean, sure if you want. Yeah, well, apparently it stores bile and then releases the bile, which breaks down fats and sugars, apparently.
Yeah,
and it works in tandem with the pancreas, which is releasing, I want to say, insulin.
Yeah,
and
that sounds right.
Something else
that
metabolizes sugars.
If your pancreas is all wonky, then you know that's where that's typically like a diabetic situation. As far as I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still don't know. They have no answers, but that's fine.
Well, you know, that's why they say that doctors are practicing.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Aren't we all?
They're getting better, man.
Aren't we all? Every day.
Yeah, they're learning.
Every day they get just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I thought that, just to jump right into it, I thought that tapering oxy was going to be a lot easier than it has turned out to be. I have been pretty sick.
Yeah.
And every time it steps down a little bit, I get a little sicker.
Yep.
So that's been a real joy.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of the last week on my couch.
Yep.
And the time change must have fucked up my sleep schedule too, because it's been like I can't fall asleep until like 4.
Yep.
And like I used to go to bed at 3. And so that leads me to believe that my body still thinks that it was on daylight savings and not standard.
Yeah, man, the time change will get you, man.
It's brutal.
It'll get you. It sure will.
And come Monday, I'm going to have to get out of bed super early and go to school.
Yeah. I'm preparing myself for having to get up fairly early as well. So, starting the 31st.
Yeah, they're paying you. Why don't you tell the fine people about your exciting news?
Yeah, I'll be working where you're going to school. So
it's not just the fantasy that it was last week when we talked about it.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah, it's
official.
reality.
I have received the official word and accepted the offer. So, yeah,
that's exciting news.
Was able to negotiate a additional $1 an hour starting, and then come June or July, I forget which one it was. I got it in the paperwork, but they'll do a review, and then I get another bump in pay. So
sure, aren't you moving away in July?
End of July, early August, but
yeah, I mean, still a month with an extra $1 or $2.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so I figure about that time, whenever I have that review, right after I get the raise, I'll be like, oh, also, FYI.
Just, tell them that you have a friend who needs work study.
Well, and that very well may be the case. Is it'll be a situation where it'll be like, well, I'm moving, but I do have
The series
recommendations, in mind for people that could step into the role fairly easily. And especially after I get an idea a little bit more of like
what it actually entails.
But from what I understand, it's going to be a lot more focused on the asset management more so than a lot of like intense, like heavy IT work.
Sure.
It's more so going to be like inventory management and the actual like.
I have actual experience with inventory management.
Yeah, so which will be great.
Yeah, man, I loved being a parts guy, an automotive parts guy in a dealership. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, there'll still be some of the like, desktop support kind of stuff, but it's not going to be as much like.
But your knowledge set only has to encompass the hardware that they're using. It's not like it's going to be some sort of all-encompassing help desk BS. You know what I mean?
Well,
and you're going to probably run into the same problems with this projector or whatever. Laptop.
Well, and I imagine a lot of it's going to be like far less trying to fix a device as more so just swap it out.
Here's a different one.
Yeah, swap it out and like, is it under warranty? Cool, send it back.
Yeah.
Is it not? All right, well,
we'll see what we can do.
Recycle it or whatever. But most of the stuff, like, it's just already budgeted to have a replacement.
Yeah. Well, there's probably already a replacement on the shelf.
Yeah, and by the time you start factoring in the cost of what it costs to pay somebody to try to tinker with it and have somebody be down for however long, like, it just makes more sense to like swap it out if in that case. So I think from what I understand from like the job description and stuff, that's more so what it sounds like the job's going to be is a lot more of that than sitting in front of a screen anyway, which is what I wanted to try to avoid. Yeah. I didn't want to just be doing that stereotypical IT work of, staring at a screen all day if I could avoid it. At least as far as like my first venture back into the field, I kind of wanted to ease in that way and be kind of IT adjacent and start kind of and ease into the field and then decide if I wanted to get more
back into the madness.
Yeah. So, and it being a, educational institution rather than a for-profit business.
Right.
There's not the constant conversations or justification that you have to have of like showing
this
that
is what needs to get done and why,
and showing that like it's cost effective or like generating revenue or like creating billable hours and all of that crap that goes along with IT in like a managed service provider, for example. Like I had a couple of interviews with companies that do that where it's like, I mean, like half of the job is keeping track of your billable hours. And I'm like, that's just like, I understand it. I understand the need for it because like that's your revenue.
Right.
Like that's how the business exists is we bill the clients for the work that I'm doing. But man, it's just like, I've done that job. I've done it for many years. And it just, the constant like back and forth between, having to then have that call when the customer comes back and says, "Oh, that's not what," and it's like, man, yes, it is. Here's the email, and
Yeah.
it just,
Believe it or not, you run into that in painting and remodeling too.
yeah, anywhere that you're billing
Right,
for
billing on top of whatever the set
yeah,
price is, sure.
and it just it takes away from the actual thing that you're doing.
Oh, 100%.
And that I think was part of the reason that I got away from that field for so long, was like that soured the milk for me so bad. Was like, I was doing that for so long that
Sure.
it really got frustrating. And so yeah. But I digress. But I'm looking forward to this particular role, and that's why it was like, despite it not being the highest paying of some of the roles that I was interviewing for, all of the other things it's got going for it,
Yeah.
make it the ideal choice for me. So yeah, I'm glad it all worked out, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting started on it. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm looking forward to going back to school on Monday because it gives me purpose.
yeah, man. Yeah.
It's been, having getting hit with the pancreatitis and being hospitalized the week before, 2 weeks before spring break was really weird, because it was like I was off school and then back to school and then off school again.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the pancreatitis, I very much don't feel like I had a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all. And it's like I didn't enjoy my vacation in a way that it wasn't enjoyable. The time spent in my apartment alone feeling sick to my stomach was not enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know I've got like another 5 days at least of that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm so ready for it to be over.
Yep.
And like part of me wants to just like cold turkey, but that's irresponsible.
Yeah,
yes and no.
I can sympathize with that for sure. But I think, it's...
I want to do it the way I was told to do it by the doctors.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it...
I think I run the risk of getting even sicker if I...
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, it's... that sudden drop off is, I think...
Well, just like the every few days dropping 10 milligrams, like as soon as I do, I'm sick again. Then I'm sick for 2 days and I feel a little bit better for a day, and then I'm sick for 2 days.
Yep.
And it's like now I'm down to 20 milligrams a day, which, a week ago I was taking 70.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big drop over the course of a week, which is probably why I'm sick.
Yeah.
But like...
Yeah.
No, I don't think I wasn't taking 70 last week. At this time, I was taking 60. So, yeah, but still 40 milligrams over a week is a pretty big drop. Yeah, it's just, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. And, I'm not going to go back and say, oh, I should have never taken it, because it's just asinine. It's just like, it's a very big reminder of how, like, when I quit doing heroin, like, almost 18 years ago now, like, this is a very big refresher on how fucking sick I really was, because that was cold turkey on a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I got very, very sick. Very, very, very sick. And this is it's just another reminder that it's not worth it to get back into anything that you thought even if the thought's there, man, sometimes having that reminder is...
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But anyway... So yeah, it wasn't, sorry I didn't make any shorts, guys. Like, it's been living. And so yesterday I felt so, like, I jumped in on Twitch with some people, and I watched a couple of people, and I'm like, oh, I've got the itch, I'm going to spin. And then, like, after an hour, I just couldn't stand up and spin anymore. Yeah. And, excuse me, I was just like, oh, and like, I felt so, I had you know that anxious feeling of like dread, or like, you know, like I know I'm not gonna die, but I feel like I'm gonna die for some reason. Like I had that like kind of feeling, and so for the first time in a long time, I took some of my olanzapine because I'm like, dude, I need to actually sleep. I need to like claw some of this back, and yeah, man. So that was 12 hours of sleep I got, but I like woke up all like, oh, where am I?
Yeah.
And it's like I'm in my bedroom and it's 1 p.m., which is good because I mean I slept from, you know, like midnight until 1 p.m., which is way more sleep than I've been getting. But at the same time, you're like, oh, and then now I feel sick because it's been so long since I took any oxy, and it's like, fuck my life, man. Yep. But we're doing it. We're doing it slowly but surely.
Yeah,
we're
man.
powering through.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it all being over in another few days, 4 or 5 days. And just, yeah, being done with it. Hopefully after a couple of days of not having any at all and being on the naltrexone full time, I will not be sick anymore. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I
think once you get to that point,
that would be nice.
I think you'll really be happy that you made the
choice to be
that decision to.
I think so too.
Well, not only to be proactive and request the naltrexone, but to also stick to the plan of tapering, because the two together will play a lot nicer. Like
than to just
the immediate drop off and hard pivot to an antagonist
is going to be rough.
Very rough. Instant, like full on.
Precipitated withdrawal.
No,
I know.
Like
I've had Narcan before. I know how that goes.
So you'll be very happy that you made the decision to do it this way. So you know, it's you know, choose your suffering. You know,
right.
do you want to
be sick as for like 2 days, or do you want to be like kind of sick for like 2 weeks?
Do you want it all at once, or, you know, spread it out so that you can still at least like function at like, you know, 75 80%,
70 65?
Or do you want to be completely incapacitated?
I'm really bad at feeling sick.
I'm really
good at tolerating pain.
I think that's like a classic male trait.
I mean, I've been told. I don't remember being as
like, I feel like that's a pretty like stereotypically like male common thread.
I don't know, but I don't remember being this like whiny to myself in my own head when I was hungover like every day.
That's a different thing though.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess. I mean, yes and no.
Like, I feel like the hangover is like almost like a badge of honor.
No, I got the anxiety so bad at the end, and like I think
really?
that's like and I think that's like a big part of like what I've been feeling the past few days, especially, is just anxiety. And it's like, you know, there's no real reason for it. It's just, you know, my GABA's all messed up, I assume. You know, so
yeah. I mean,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So this White Peach Rockstar Focus, hashtag not an ad, is pretty good. I like it. I don't understand why I'm seeing lion's mane and all this stuff nowadays. I feel like you started to explain it to me the other day, but I still don't like get it. Like, it helps with digestion.
Is it? I don't know if that's right, but it's, I don't know. There's some supposed benefit to it. I don't know if it's digestion it's like supposed to do something with mental focus, or I don't know. The
sixth ingredient in this, and the only real ingredient besides water,
Or maybe it's, or maybe,
Well, caffeine, I suppose.
or maybe,
real, but...
or maybe somebody just like, ended up having like a bunch of lion's mane just like grow everywhere across like their crops.
It's
and
actually fairly easy to grow lion's mane in like if you were gonna have like a mushroom farm or whatever. It's one of the more easily like cultured. Do you know
so
what I mean?
they just were able to buy a bunch of it on the cheap, and they were like, what do we use this for? I don't know, put it in everything. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe. There was a period of my life where I was really into growing mushrooms, and like it was a fantasy of mine to like farm like edible mushrooms. Legally, ones that are legal. But like, so lion's mane was one that I like seriously looked into because like, it has a lot of, medicinal uses according to Eastern medicine. And then, it's pretty easy to culture and grow, chanterelles, and it's pretty easy to culture and grow hen of the woods. Chicken of the woods, not as easy, but possible. Then oyster mushrooms, and like, so in my head, like I would go out mushroom hunting in the woods, and I'm very familiar with like what different mushrooms in the woods are edible and which ones are not. And so like I had this like fantasy where I was gonna like forage mushrooms and then like have my own little mushroom farm and sell it to like high-end restaurants and la 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 la. And I didn't end up doing any of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a real like goal of mine at a point in my life, when I was really into growing mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of the most interesting. It's my mycological learning time with Mitchell. So the way that the mycelium grows on these dead oak trees, right? And what will happen is a storm will come through, and in Japan, where it grows naturally, the rain will be really, really cold. And so it'll be like cold rain, and then the storm will blow down the tree. And the shock of the tree falling is what triggers the mycelium into fruiting. So when they grow it outside of the forest where it grows in Japan, the way that they do it is they put plugs of mycelium into the oak, right? And then they soak it in super cold water, and then they come and hit it with these big wooden mallets on the ends of each one, and then put them on racks. And then put cold, shower them in cold water again for a few days, and then the shiitakes grow out of that. Isn't that fascinating?
Cool. There's I learned about a type of conifer. So on the West Coast, like this tree, the only way that the cone, the seed will actually like
the cone will open is if it's exposed to forest fire, right?
Yeah, is extreme heat. Yeah. And so literally like the only way that these trees will repopulate is during a forest fire. Right. So like interesting kind of like situations like that where these like natural disasters or these like extreme weather events.
To the Native Americans, those forests have always burned to the ground.
Yeah.
It's not the way they do now because we put a bunch of other flammable shit in between all of the trees, but we don't allow the forest to drop the stuff naturally like it would.
Yeah, that's the thing is like...
We clean it all up.
Right.
And if you clean it up, then it burns
and
easier.
That's the thing is like all of the other things that have been done to interfere with that natural process have actually like exasperated.
Right, because instead of like this small section of the forest burning every year, because it's going to be a little section, no matter what a little section of the forest is going to burn. Now, because of the way we've managed it, the whole freaking thing burns.
Right.
By trying to prevent any of it from burning, we make it all burn.
Right.
Which is,
But, it's interesting because having, having what we thought were these good intentions
Right.
of like, oh, well, we're going to stop forest fires. Only you can prevent forest fires. It's like, well, no, you can't.
Right.
Actually, because they're supposed to happen.
Right.
They're actually,
It's part of a cycle.
yeah, they're actually doing what nature is supposed to do.
If it wasn't a part of the cycle, then the plants would not have evolved to deal with the fires like they have.
Yeah, millions of years of the evolutionary process of these plants.
Right.
Like, they actually kind of need it.
Man.
Like it clears away the underbrush. It makes way for.
I never get over the stupidity of humans thinking we're better than nature and where we build things.
Well, but I mean, like it's the idea of just being in line with it, right? Like rather than trying to constantly be pushing against it, like get just kind of in line and live a little bit closer to harmony with
Right.
nature. Like nature's kind of got it figured out.
I don't think that as a species we can admit with our ego that we can admit that we aren't smarter or more clever than Mother Nature, and time again she has proven otherwise. So
Yeah, well,
me personally,
the fun part is that she doesn't care.
Yeah,
Like,
she can do
does
her thing.
not care that whether or not she's right or that we know she's right. It's like just gonna keep doing the thing.
Right.
Like,
Well, it's like
figure it out or don't care.
People will build their houses like right up against Lake Michigan and then be mad when Lake Michigan comes and like washes away the beach when the lake is on a 20-year cycle of filling and emptying.
Yeah.
A very well documented cycle. So they will come in and they will build their house at the low part of the cycle and then be surprised when the lake is like all of a sudden up at their foundation or pouring into their foundation. Like, bro, this is a cycle. You can see the history of this.
Right.
And you chose to act like you could somehow reclaim that beach.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you can't.
Right.
And people do that on the ocean, too. It's like you realize, okay, whether you believe in climate change or not, the sea level is rising.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden your house is going to be in the ocean. But what it does mean is that when the ocean is angry, it's going to come farther up the beach to your house.
Yeah.
And the ocean, it might not always be angry, but it will be some days. And that is a given.
Right.
There will always be days where the ocean is angry.
Right. And you're not going to win that fight.
No, definitely not.
There's
That's
a lot
of water.
There's a lot more ocean than there is you.
A whole lot more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always one of the size of like the Pacific Ocean is so mind-bogglingly huge.
Yeah.
Like it really, even you see it on maps and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
man,
it can
that's
almost all fit
big.
inside of Texas. That's how big it is.
What? Oh, I can't even with that one. Everything is bigger in Texas. I've been there. I lived there.
I saw this hilarious, like, obvious tongue-in-cheek, like, animation of, like, just how big is Texas? And so it starts off, like, with actual, like, factual representations because, like, the maps we've been shown are, like, historically, like, inaccurate because of, like, trying to make a 2D representation of... Yeah. So it takes, like... other countries that are, because of the way the curvature and, making the United States prominent, it distorts the size of the other countries. So it actually like takes the I forget, maybe it was like some European country and it's like, it could actually fit inside of Texas. And then it takes another one and it would actually also fit inside of Texas. And then it starts taking like bigger and bigger countries more and making them smaller and smaller and saying they'd also fit inside it. And then eventually it's like, and Saturn. And it takes the planet of Saturn. So I'm like, That's where that reference came from. Was like, yeah.
Well, see, now it makes sense.
If you take all of the Pacific Ocean and ball it up, it would
Instead,
actually.
I just had to balk at it and be like, "What?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you being like this?"
It was pretty funny.
I think isn't like as far as square mileage, France is about the size of Texas. A little smaller.
That seems probably about right. Yeah.
Anyway, I know that
I mean, Texas is
by square
objectively big.
By square mileage, the state of Michigan is bigger than England, not the UK, but England by itself.
Yeah.
And I think Wisconsin is really similar to the square mileage of Germany.
Yep.
And it's really weird to think that they fought like entire world wars, and like with population levels that are similar to like what we have in the States right now.
Wisconsin is also very similar to like climate and you know,
it's way colder here than it is in Central Europe.
True, but
like way colder.
Geographically, like as far as like the type of soil
what I didn't realize is how far like geographically north like England is. Like Europe is actually fairly similar like on the meridians, and like really it's the ocean currents
it's because of the
it so much warmer.
It's because of all of the Gulf Stream and stuff.
Yeah,
similar to like how Vancouver is actually kind of a subtropic.
Yeah, no, it is 100%. Yeah, it's a rainforest there on the West Coast. Yeah.
I've heard that Vancouver.
We should all probably move out there because the Civil War that's brewing.
Midwest is actually probably one of the like best places to be for multiple reasons. Lots of fresh water.
Yeah, you can't be like Michigan.
Far from like any like real threat of coastal like invasion or too much like sea pollution, things like that. So like if there's nuclear power plants or anything like that, like we had with Fukushima, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like you're insulated from that.
You are and you aren't, because there are many nuclear power plants that dot Lake Michigan on the Michigan side.
Sure,
of the
but
lake.
I'm saying like
the wind does technically blow that way.
But on the that it hit like coastal waters.
Right.
So like it's got to go through all of the Great Lakes. So like the last one really is going to be Superior, but Lake Michigan also is pretty well insulated. Right,
but there, like I said, there's two that I've been to in Michigan, 2 nuclear power plants. But I mean, the chances of there being
I'm not saying like that it would be one of the ones on the lake. I'm saying any of the foreign ones.
Oh, okay.
That would have problems. So like if any of the foreign countries' power plants have problems like Fukushima.
I feel like the amount of radiation the entire world was subject to after Fukushima is a lot worse than they are letting us know that it was.
I mean, the amount of time that's passed, like, whatever. It's damage done at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, but it's still leaking, so,
Yeah, but...
Anyway, we all gotta die, right?
I'm not going to be able to go fix it. So...
No, I mean, I know. I'm just saying that it's...
And even if they told me about it,
what are you gonna
what
do?
difference would it make? Like, how would that change anything other than...
Knowing?
Yeah. Like, what...
Well, I mean, to prevent cancer, I could eat more lion's mane.
I mean, you're literally already doing that.
I mean, only because it's being put in things that I keep eating, but...
Which is maybe why they're doing it.
Yeah, Rockstar knows something we don't.
Well,
Hashtag not an ad.
Maybe. Who knows? Like, I don't know, man. Like...
I'm doing orange vanilla. This is kind of tasty.
Yeah.
But it's more expensive. It's like $5 an 8-pack. I'm like, man, what is that?
Yeah.
But it's like all they had at Target was, 8-packs. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be here and that's the money I'm going to spend on it, and I guess that's what it is. Actually, I think it was 3 for 12. So I guess it wasn't 11, or wasn't. It normally would be $5. It was like $4.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just paying somebody to carbonate and lightly fruit my water these days.
get and get a soda stream and just buy your tank of CO2. If you wanted to do that.
I mean, that's so much work.
You've got options.
I do, but I'm just so lazy these days.
Or you could just complain about it.
I like that. I like that option. Because you know what? It absolves me of any responsibility.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's no longer my fault.
I mean, yeah. And,
Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah. So what else is going on in our little world?
Had to take Toasty to the vet.
Yeah.
That was unpleasant for her. She was not feeling good.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Poor thing. So
she feeling better this week, though.
Definitely is. So I will say hats off to the emergency veterinarians at the place over there on the west side. They were fantastic. So yeah, I was very, very impressed. They were extremely pleasant, nice, and did a good job of just explaining what was going on and, walking us through the options and everything. And
yeah.
But yeah, got it taken care of, and had to give her so there was this a
antibiotic.
Yeah, an antibiotic that we had to. It was like a liquid that we had to give her. It came in a vial, and you give her 7 milliliters of it twice a day. So
yeah, which is always fun to do to a cat.
Squirt it in her mouth and
hold it shut.
No, I mean she
dealt.
Yeah. It just was not her favorite because
I mean,
I guess had kind of a bitter taste. They said, but I mean, she was fine.
I'm not a fan of being held down and having stuff squirted down my throat either.
I didn't even really have to hold her down. It was mostly finding the right timing to make sure that she was already kind of sitting there, and then I'd just kind of come up alongside her and just kind of hold her head, and you just get the thing in the side of her lip.
Yeah.
And
I've had to give cats liquid medicine before, and it depends on the cat.
She was a trooper.
I've never had a cat that was that loaf shaped. My cats have always been indoor outdoor cats that were fairly lean. So for me, it was just pick them up by the scruff, and this is happening.
Oh yeah. But I'll tell you what, the thing is, her being as big as she is, I think was what actually kind of saved her.
Sure.
Because had she been able to do a better job of cleaning herself,
bloody backside, you may not have noticed.
I wouldn't have noticed it as quickly, so we wouldn't have known about it as quickly, so it probably would have bothered her longer.
Yeah, maybe. You'll never know.
So, yeah.
We'll never know.
But yeah, she's definitely feeling a lot better, so
Well, she's done a good job the past couple times I've been over, just complaining straight at me that I'm not paying enough attention to her, or complaining straight at me that I'm walking in a spot that is not okay to be walking in, or complaining loudly.
The funny thing is, so we get her there, and they're like, okay, so we're gonna give her some medication, and she should go to sleep. Like this should.
Right, this should knock her out.
Yeah, this should knock her out.
Yeah.
So they give her the shot, and they're like, okay, we'll come back in like 10 minutes and see how she's doing. 10 minutes go by, and they come in, and she's wide awake. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, we'll give it a few more minutes. And they come back, and they're like, okay, we're gonna give you another one. And so they give her another. They come back in like 10 more minutes, and doctor's like, "You're still awake? What are you?" and
I feel like I've had that experience in the ER as well.
But that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, she gets it from me. I'm like, that's 100% me. Like, I would metabolize that whatever it is so quick. Like. Because I've had that experience with, like, local anesthetics, with whatever it is. Like, it always seems like whatever you think it's going to take, tack on, like, 50% more. Because that's probably...
Anesthesia has always got me, but, like, sleeping medication, like, hasn't.
Well, yeah.
Like, hasn't.
But, like,
you know what I mean?
But, like, whatever it is, like, narcotic or not, I feel like it's always been, like... a surprise to whatever doctor has. They're always just like, really?
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like,
well, I mean, I could say the same about like BAC levels being in the ER or something. They're like, how are you?
Right.
You should probably sit down.
I'm just built different, man.
You should probably sit down.
I'm just built different, I guess. I don't know. Like,
you might want to reconsider your life choices.
Yeah, trust me.
Because like, being able to be coherent with where you are,
right? Yeah,
probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Facts. Definitely facts.
Look at me now.
Yep. Yeah, I remember. So I had. You can barely see it now, but I had stitches in the palm of my hand.
That sounds awful.
Oh, it was not pretty. It was not pretty. It was I don't even remember what the stupid thing was we were doing, but I mean, I remember what cut my hand open, but I don't remember what event we were like out celebrating. But I was out with some friends, and it was bar time or getting close, and I had the brilliant idea to climb over a fence because there was a ladder we could climb up to get up to some rooftop and hang out up there after hours. Because, brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's this old wrought iron fence.
I'm already cringing. I feel like I know where this is going.
And it's got the,
the spike top.
Yeah, and I'm wearing sandals.
Because it's
the middle of summer. Mm-hmm. I make it over. But then as I'm stepping down, foot comes out of the sandal, I fall back, instinctively go to...
catch yourself.
Yep.
On the sharp-ass, rusty...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it did what a sharp, rusty thing does.
Yeah, it gets you a tetanus shot.
Yeah. So, but... not to ruin the evening, I was like, no, it's fine. We'll just... I wrapped it up, in my shirt.
Yeah.
Fine.
Shirtless.
Let's just
tie a tourniquet on there.
Yeah, let's just... It's fine. Let's just, It
in fact was not fine.
No. It 100% was not fine. I was like, we'll just go back to my place and I'll just bandage it up. It's probably nothing. Because I was like, it's my hand. It's going to bleed like a stuck pig because it's...
No, not necessarily.
But like that, in my flawed logic,
My hand hurts just you telling the story, man. Jeez.
And so we get back to my place, and by the time we get there, not more than 10 minutes to from where we were to get to my house.
You've completely soaked through.
I'm white as a ghost.
Yeah.
And my friend that's with me, her husband's a doctor. And so she looks at me, she's like,
you need to
no,
go.
you are like...
You're gonna pass out.
White. And she's like, I'm taking you to the ER. And so, yeah, got to the ER.
And they're like, oh, that's not good.
And, yeah, so... But
why can I feel this in my hand?
The funny part of it is that I'm sitting in there, and the doctor that's coming to stitch me up, he's like hits me with local anesthetic a couple of times, and I'm like, you're gonna need. I told him flat out, I'm like, you're gonna need to do that like twice as much as you think. And he's like, kind of. I'm like, just. Doesn't work as like I don't know why, but anesthetic just doesn't work as well.
Sure.
And I'm like, trust, like it just doesn't. I'm like, just trust me on this. And so he does a couple of pokes with a anesthetic, waits a little bit, and he's like, all right, let's just check it. And I looked away, I'm like, just so that like I look away, and yep. And I'm like, he's like, holy crap, you weren't kidding. I'm like, it's not like I'm getting high off of anesthetic.
Right.
Like I'm not abusing the stuff. Like just come on, man, get on with it.
Right.
Like I'm sitting here bleeding. Like,
yeah.
just let's go.
More lidocaine in there. And
let's go.
Let's roll with this.
Is this necessary or not?
Yeah, like, are you gonna? If you want me to just live through the stitch up, I will live through the stitch up.
Like,
oh my God.
Like, are you trying to numb me first to do this or not? Because like, I'm trying to just give you the information ahead of time. Like, if you're not gonna believe me, like.
Yeah, well, it's like...
like, I don't know. Are people coming in here abusing local anesthetic?
It's like the pain meds in the hospital. They're just like... They're like, hey, does this hurt? And I'm like, oh, that's excruciating. Thank you. And then they're like, oh, okay. Well, we're probably going to, give you less pain meds. And I'm like, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Great.
Yeah. Perfect.
Great. Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
Yeah. I'm glad that you pushed on me really hard in the place where you fucking know it hurts. And,
yeah. So
then told me I could have less stuff to help.
This was a super productive conversation.
Yes, it sure was. Oh my God.
Yeah, we could have skipped that whole part where you asked if it hurt.
Yeah.
If you were just going to tell me that you were giving me less
anyway. That's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, we could have kept my pain at a lower level.
Right. And you could have just believed me when I said it hurt and not made sure that I was going to wince when you pushed me where it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what they're supposed to do, though. Maybe they're supposed to, see what your physical reaction is to it to gauge how much pain you're really in. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but it still does seem a little, just a touch barbaric.
I mean, sure.
That's
all I could come up with in my head.
But...
Because it's
But also, I guess I understand from a level of care perspective, they and also I suppose maybe there's a malpractice kind of CYA,
maybe,
from a legal perspective, they need to make sure they're protected legally, thanks to, that aspect too, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It
seems to me that it's odd that, you'd go after the doctors at all for prescribing medication.
Well, especially if you're in a controlled environment. Now, outside of the hospital, I can kind of understand because, the potential for abuse is there. But, when I'm...
But, yeah, if you're
If I'm in a room.
Yeah,
and
if you're in
everything is
the
being
ER,
administered
if you're
by a
in the
nurse
hospital
on a schedule, then I feel like
Right.
it should be an open conversation about
I agree.
what the level of pain really
I agree.
is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because as soon as you've hit your, you know, amount of
Yeah.
coverage or care or whatever that you're supposed to be in the actual hospital for,
Yeah.
then you're discharged. You know, that's you've run your course at that institution,
Sure.
and then you're back to your normal life and you're back to your regular doctor.
Ideally, yeah.
You know, and so then at that point I could see. But yeah, I agree with you. I think
When I was on like day 3, like I don't understand why it was like played with.
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean.
I think you're right. I think that makes sense. If you're like in the ER, like that's off. I think.
Well,
that
it's
should be,
like as soon as I was out of the ER,
or even just
like,
in a hospital,
yeah.
like that should be friggin' off limits for like any kind of like. Oh, you prescribed him pain meds. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, he's in the fucking hospital.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Who knows?
You know, like, yeah.
I'm not here to speculate.
Where else is it appropriate? Like,
It was funny. I was hanging out with some people on Twitch, and they're like, "Oh, how you been?" And I'd complained to one of them about getting out of bed because I was laying in my bed when I jumped on. I was complaining about getting out of bed and being like, the day. And then, so somebody else jumps in there and they're like, "Oh my gosh, how have you been?" And I'm like, "Oh, I nearly died." And he gets on the mic and is like, "Oh, you nearly died getting out of bed, did you?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I was in hospital for 8 days." They're like, "Oh, you mean for real though?" And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you die from that. I think you do if you don't get it treated. But
yeah, you absolutely could.
No, what a terrible.
Like, because I mean, it could
way
progress. You know, like it.
Yeah.
Definitely, like.
Yeah. Well.
Untreated, like it's spilling toxin in. You know, as far as I understand it, right? Like
I think it's just inflamed at the point where I was.
But like it would progress to the point where.
Yeah, if it maintains inflammation for a long enough time.
Yeah, it would like
could rupture,
and
yeah, and then. I don't know what happens then. I assume your blood sugar would crash immediately because there'd be way more insulin in your system than you could.
Yeah, like you
deal
like,
with.
Die.
Yeah.
Like you. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's not.
Here we are.
That's not an ideal situation.
It sure isn't.
So, definitely good to get that taken care of.
Oh man! So earlier today, I called up the auto shop, that has been taking care of my car since I got it. And I'm like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And he's like, "Hi." I'm like, "I'm due for an oil change." And he's like, "That's what we like to hear." I'm like, "Y'all are going to look at everything real close, though, when you're there." And yeah. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but yeah, I need an oil change." They're like, "Okay, thank God." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm on that same page with you, buddy." I'm on that same page with you.
I'm as relieved to only be calling you for this as you are.
Well, then what I realized is I'm supposed to do the Dane County Sober Living Coalition tomorrow, and I may have scheduled it at the same time I'm supposed to be there, so I might have to do it next week, which is pretty lame. But it is what it is. Whatever.
Yeah, well.
I'll look in the morning and see what time it is. It'll be okay. You're welcome. Now that you all know that. My schedule for tomorrow. It was the utmost important for our YouTube audience.
Yeah.
To know about my appointment schedules.
Yeah, that'll be in the past.
I will.
Yeah, travel back a couple of days and go visit him.
Yeah. Why don't you guys let us know down in the comments what you think about us moving it to Sunday?
Yeah.
Brett was looking at the analytics, and most of you guys were watching it on Sunday anyway, so we thought, why not give us...
I mean, we get a decent bump whenever it releases, but it seemed like, then after the initial...
Like 2 or 3 or whatever.
The initial pop, then it seemed like we got more folks that seemed like they were making time for it on Sundays anyway. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys want it back on Saturday nights,
Let us know.
But I feel like from what it looked like anyway, it looked like Sunday afternoons were a better time. So if it doesn't make sense, or if you guys tell us you prefer it a different time, then let us know. But I think Sunday afternoons make more sense.
Anyway, if you've made it this far, why don't you go ahead and throw a like on the video. If you're listening to this in the audio form, go ahead and why don't you chuck us a review on there. That way you can get us in front of more ears, and more people can be ingratiated with our manic nonsense. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. You may see a button appear like right here. I nailed it last week.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I'm the one who edits, so I can put it wherever I want.
That's true. You did. So, yeah, I mean...
Anyway.
You could point anywhere when you're editing. And
I could be like and subscribe. But see, now I have to do it that way. I'm going to have to do it twice, so that's why it's on there twice, because otherwise the joke doesn't work.
I mean...
Why don't you, comment down below what your greatest, fear is when it comes to dealing with other people. And then maybe, we can use that as a topic for a podcast in the future. So we got like, subscribe, audio version review.
Yep.
And then comment down below.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking or feeling. We want to know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it's about. It can be blithering nonsense.
And maybe a fun little tangent conversation. Favorite childhood cartoon?
Yeah, for next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not like modern day cartoons either, like those old school ones.
Right on. Yeah, tell us your favorite cartoon. All right.
Like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Like growing
perfect.
up. Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week. Love y'all. You see it on maps and you're like, oh,
yeah,
man,
it can almost all fit inside of Texas. That's how big it is.
What? Oh, I can't even with that